it was inmate against inmate when it started. When that happened, it was like, oh, COs bleed too. Everybody just turned on the COs. And I mean, it's a full-blown riot, so you can imagine all the noise. We could hear her screaming above all that.
Welcome to Time, the podcast. I'm here with Boss. Introduce me, motherfucker.
Hi, I'm Boss.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
here with P.
This is a place to talk about sugar and spice and everything nice.
Yeah, if it was a bullshit podcast, but this is really the place to talk about what's really going on inside of New York State prisons. If you don't know, if you're just tuning in, I did 41 years inside the prisons and I just got out. Here's the deal, right? Beer.
I gotta get ready for the deal.
Yeah, so here's the deal. If you don't educate yourself, then you don't have a right to a voice. Because your decisions, the things you vote for, affect people on the inside. Our podcast is geared at giving you that voice. I know I already talked about my introduction into the Department of Corrections, but I want to differentiate population from reception. So the first thing you go into is reception. What I want to share with you tonight is what we're calling bug spray.
Let's hope this episode isn't a technical piece of shit like the other ones, because we've had a lot of audio recording issues.
Just hang tight with us. We'll get
Don't leave us.
Yeah.
Don't leave us because of technical issues. All right, so tell us the bug spray story.
I remember riding one of those cheesy Chevrolet station wagons. I remember the drive was quite long. We left in the morning and got there after dark in July, so it was a really long ride. I don't know how many hours, 6 or 8 maybe. When we pulled in, I had the property that I had accumulated in 200 plus days, almost a year in county jail. So I had some clothes and I had a radio and I had some pictures and some things that, I had accumulated, some photographs. And when I got there, the very first thing that the CO did was throw everything I had in a big garbage can, one of those big industrial green garbage cans. He threw everything in the garbage can, smashed my radio, tossed that in the garbage and says, your life starts over right now. You get none of this shit. You get what we give you and don't ask for anything else. He walked me down the hallway to another room, made me strip, put me through some indignities, bend over, spread your cheeks, and, they check your anal cavity and... it's just disgusting, inhumane shit that they do to everybody that comes in. So they took me in. They took the clothes that I had on, which were the last things I had on the planet, right? And threw those into another trash can, just to add the caveat to the fact that my life was over. So then I marched naked down the hallway about 100 yards. They put me into this shower area where it's, if you can picture it, it's just picture a boxcar, the inside of a boxcar, the inside of a train if you're familiar with New York City or other subways. And instead of there being a bar for you to hold on to, that bar would have nozzles attached to it. And those nozzles would be shower heads, all set at the same temperature because they come from a single pipe. So it's a single pipe fed with these outlets, like a sprinkler in the yard or something. So I go in there and I figure, got to take a shower. I was stripped naked, standing in one of these places where the water should fall. And one of the correctional officers comes out with one of those Raid bug spray cans. And he started spraying me with bug spray. He sprayed me every place, the face, the mouth, between my legs, made me bend over and sprayed me there. My feet, he just soaked my hair and soaked me with this bug spray, and it was burning. And there's a couple of different COs in there, and they're all, bullying you and laughing at you and having fun because they've got another victim. So as they're demoralizing you and dehumanizing you, I guess they're dehumanizing themselves too. So this goes on, and they made me stand there for 30 minutes. I remember the CO said, okay, you have to stay, that has to stay on you for 30 minutes. So by the time it was, 30 minutes, I was burning, had, chemical burns, and had it in my eyes and in my face and in my mouth. Who knows how much of it I actually ate. It's bug poison. It's poison. DDT. Who knows what it is? They say it's bug spray, so you just have to assume it's bug spray. It's to kill lice or anything else that you might have on you, right? Which is really ridiculous because you're coming from a controlled environment in the county jail where no one has any of those things. So you obviously don't have those things. You're not coming off the street. So it's just done to let you know once and for all that you no longer have liberty. So finally, after about 45 minutes, they turned the water on and let me rinse that stuff off me. I mean, at that point, my hair was discolored and my skin was burned. Then I was able to shower and wash that stuff off. Cold water and rusty, and it didn't matter. It's probably the best shower I ever had. And they gave me my first set of state greens, state prison clothes. And I dressed in those prison clothes, and it was official. I was a number at that point. I was no longer me. I was a number.
And then what?
Well, then, because it's late at night, by this time it's probably 10 at night. They take me into the reception center, which is probably 100 different cells. There's like 4 tiers, layers like cakes, 4 tiers on each side. So there's 8 tiers. And they take me into a reception center and put me in a cell. They open a cell, put me in a cell with a blanket, and there's a toilet in there, a bed, a sink, and that's it. That's my life. And I spent the next 60 days in that cell waiting to be processed in by the counselors and all of that stuff to be put in general population so that I could, start doing whatever it is you're going to do in general population.
Do you remember what that first night was like?
Yeah, it was super loud. Everybody's screaming and yelling. Nobody was quiet all night. It was just super loud. People banging on the bars and stuff with their boots, trying to get attention from the CO, trying to get different things, pencil and paper to write home, just different things. And I'm just laying there, just stunned. I'm just stunned. I'm laying there, just shaking and there's tears running out of my eyes, and I'm trying to talk myself into killing myself because I just can't do this. I know I can't do this. I'm not strong enough to do this. And that's running through my head. Just find some way to kill yourself. You can't do this. Just die. Get it done. And I wasn't able to do that either, so I felt like I was a coward that first night because I couldn't do it. And that damaged me. That damaged me for a long time, that I couldn't do that. I hated myself more that night than ever since then. I hated myself that I didn't have the strength, the courage to kill myself. And I don't care how tough you are, how big you are. If you've never been through this before, you are traumatized. You are in survival mode because you don't know what's coming next. You hear all the stories before you get to prison. I mean, everybody listening to this podcast has heard this. Oh man, prison's really tough. You get beat up in prison all the time. You get raped in prison. Prison's horrible. You never want to go there. Everybody hears that. Everybody watches TV, right? So until you experience what it really is, that's all that's in your mind, right? Is what you've been taught through society, what you've been taught through movies and these things. And
okay, so reception was 2 months.
Reception was about 2 months, and then I was shifted over to population from reception. When they send you from reception to population, it's the first time you're ever on your own in prison. They don't escort you. They tell you where to go. Now get the fuck out of my billet. And it's not just like you're by yourself walking down a hallway trying to figure out where you're going. There's convicts walking all over the place. There's things going on at all times. Some guys are going to work. Some guys are coming back from work. Some guys are going to commissary. Some guys are going to the yard. Some guys are going to the weight pit. Up to this point, you've been escorted by a CO every place you've had to go, to chow and back, to the yard and back. You've been escorted. You've always had that false sense of protection, right? That security. So I've got my little bag, and what they give you is they give you a feed bag, and you put your clothes and everything in that feed bag, and you throw it over your shoulder, and away you go. So anytime you move in prison, you move with feed bags. So I walk up, like I say, I'm walking down the hallway, all these people over there, and I'm asking, hey, where's I block? Where's I block? Every once in a while somebody would answer you.
Is it all like a multi-floored...
So
like you see in the movies where you as far as you look up, there's just rows and rows of...
That's exactly how it is. Yeah, oh. So it's just like the movies. As you look up, there's rows and rows of cells. There's tiers. So each row is called a tier. In this case, there's 10 tiers total, 5 on each side. So there's 10 tiers, 44 cells to a tier. And then picture those 44 times 10 cells occupied by loud, angry, boisterous men. The violence was exponential. They put me in one of the worst dorms, of course, because everyone goes, you start out at the bottom. Anytime you go any place in prison and you're new, you start out at the bottom. There's the hierarchy, there's the echelons. It's been this way since the 1920s, and you're not going to change it. Now, you're in regular general population now. You are expected to handle yourself like a man. You are expected to do your own time. The COs aren't there to babysit you. They got cards to play. They got phones to talk on. They don't have any time for you. So I'm in the cell. Hey, 7 cell. Send me a light. I don't have a light. I just seen you smoking a cigarette, 7 cell. Send me a light. I don't have a light. You can't send this light. This is a test. All right, in the morning I'm going to kick your fucking ass. And there's noise, there's cacophony. It isn't quiet. You're yelling this, you're screaming this so that this guy can hear you. Have you ever been standing on the subway and have a train pass you? Okay, that's what it sounds like 24/7.
I always imagine there'd be somebody, some big tough ass guy who would just say, shut the fuck up at night, or I'm gonna fucking kill you. And so people have to be. Otherwise they'd be a target. That doesn't happen?
There are situations where that happens. There's situations where there's people who are feared so much that if they get on the gate at, say, 11 o'clock at night and tell everybody to shut the fuck up, it goes quiet. But not in reception. Because nobody knows anybody in reception. Nobody knows who has a reputation, who doesn't. It's all based on your violence.
Were you ever one of those people?
You mean later on in life?
Yeah.
I did come to be one of those people, yes. But we're not going there yet, right? Are we?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so this is the test, right? So give me a light. I don't have a light. All right, well, in the morning, then it's on. The gate opens the next day, and the guy charges me. Just bull charges me, which was a big mistake on his part, because I could fight. So when he bull charged me, I knew right away he couldn't fight. That's the dumbest thing in the world you can do, you know. So he probably bull charged me from 15 feet away, which gave me time to set up. And he was a big guy, and I was a little guy. I weighed 150 pounds. I was 20 years old, 150 pounds. The guy comes running at me, and then as he runs past me, I tag him in the solar plexus, hit him in the solar plexus, and he drops, and I put a boot to his head, and I just start kicking the shit out of him. Not going to let him up. I'm just kicking the shit out of him, taking all the frustration and everything out of him. Everybody else is just stopped. Like, holy shit. This is not the boy to fuck with.
So when you were kicking this guy, did you do it because you were just like, I fucking had enough? Because I remember once you told me you hadn't been in a fist fight since the 8th grade.
Yeah.
Before you got arrested. So
right.
How did this come about?
It was rage. It was just rage. I was tired of it. I've had enough. But it taught me a lesson. It taught me that if you can fight, nobody's going to bother you.
Did you have to learn how to fight?
Yeah, you have to learn to fight. Yeah, I mean, nobody knows how to prison fight. If you had boxing or if you had taekwondo or if you had karate as a kid and all that stuff, right? You don't know how to prison fight. People aren't going to square off and say, put up your dukes, let's fight. You know, that's cartoon stuff, man. Somebody's coming to fight you. They're coming to hurt you. Fight or fuck, right? It's one or the other.
What's the difference?
Between fighting and fucking? Seriously? And
Yes,
how old are you?
Because I seem to have a problem with that movie. What is the difference between outside fighting and inside fighting?
People on the street who have never been exposed to extreme violence, right? Most people go through their whole lives and they never even get hit one time. If you see a fight on the subway or you see a fight on the street or something like that, or you see a fight in the park or something, it's comical. It's more comical than it is anything. It's wrestling and slapping and some guy trying to throw a punch, and you've seen it on TV, on the news and stuff. It's just comical. In prison, there's two things that you don't have. One is you don't have much time to get it done. And secondly, you don't have a second shot at it. You're going to lose sometime. You can't win every fight. I mean, nobody wins every fight. Sometimes you're going to get your ass handed to you, and that's just what it's going to be, you know. And then you have to decide, are you going back for more? Can you let that go? Can you work that out, or do you have to go back for more, right? Sometimes you have to go back for more. Chances are you'll beat them the second time.
It's hard to learn these things about you and to imagine you beating somebody up. just such a different perspective. I mean, you know, whatever I'm going to learn about you, I can take. I mean, I assume it's just...
That's what you say now. You don't...
I know you're not cruel.
I'm not cruel, and I don't seek drama. I don't go out looking for trouble. But I learned very early that when trouble comes, step to it. Always step into trouble. I was in population, and then within just a couple of weeks, there was this riot. And I mean, it's a full-blown riot. So I always like to use this analogy like a school of fish, right? You see a school of fish, and like one fish will turn and the whole school will turn. Just instinctively, every fish knows to go and follow this fish that turns, right? This riot started, and I don't even know what started it. I just know that it started off in a corner out in the back of the armory, and everybody just ran that way like they wanted to get in it, you know? 1,000 guys, at least 1,000, just running to this corner of the armory where this fight or whatever had started, and all of a sudden it's a full-blown riot and everybody's fighting each other. And then all of a sudden the whole crowd would run to the other end of the armory and just, like a school of fish, and just start fighting each other again. The whole pod would just change places and start fighting again, and then change places and start fighting again, and then change places, and this went on and on and on. And it was very brutal. I seen one officer get her fingers cut off. She jumped on this guy's back, and this guy just ripped her right off his back, right? And threw her on the ground, and as she hit the ground, another guy swung a weight at her and chopped her fingers off with the weight.
Took a weight? What, slammed it down on her head?
A barbell, yeah. I don't know if he meant to do that, if he meant, you know what I mean? Because it just seemed, it was instantaneous. It doesn't seem like it was planned. But it happened. They just crushed cut. So they're not sharp enough to cut like a knife, right? This thing just crushed her fingers off.
Oh my God, what a horror show.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So she was screaming and yelling, and you could hear that above all of the noise. You can imagine all of the noise. Oh my God. But you could hear her screaming above that. And then when that happened, everybody just turned on the COs. I mean, it was inmate against inmate when it started, you know. But then after that CO got her fingers cut off, everybody had this epiphany, oh, COs bleed too. And so they just started beating up the COs. The COs left. They all started running. So they all ran out the door and left everybody else inside just fighting. And they just left her. The cops left her, man.
Oh my God.
They let the riot go on. Everybody fought probably for, 20 minutes, probably 15, 20 minutes, which is a long time if you've ever been in a fight. And you're not fighting one guy, right? So, like, I'm standing in there, and I think there might have been 11 of us or 12 white guys. And so we just all, naturally, we always stayed together. We were all just kind of back to back, just throwing punches at anybody that came near us, just, trying to stay out of it, but trying to stay alive, I can't say how many people that I punched that day or how many people came after me, because anyone who got near me, I just punched them. Whether it was in the back of the head, in the forehead, in the face, whatever.
Elmira was a fucking mess at the time. I found some newspaper articles. First of all, there is a big problem with people committing suicide in the reception center.
Yeah.
Still, to this day. And Elmira has the highest number of suicides in all of New York State. And like you said, it's for kids. I mean, people are teenagers. So like in the 70s, 80s, 90s, they were 16 years old and up. I don't know if they still are. There's fucking 16-year-olds. This guy committed suicide on his 17th birthday.
Still are.
He was in for third-degree attempted burglary, which is like trespassing.
Right.
With intent.
Right.
So they
should have never been there to begin with.
Yeah, and he was there for 5 years. He got a fucking 5-year sentence.
Right.
Why is he there? This is one of the suicides from while you were there. This guy went in just a month after you. So this kid, 19 years old, went home to his mom, and he said that he was going to see the parole board next Monday. He was mistaken. The date hadn't actually been set yet, so Monday night rolled around, and he was found dead in his cell. He had been committed to Elmira State Prison 3 days earlier and might have been released in 2 weeks. He complained about the prison food and his head being shaved. My hair is less than an inch long now, and they sprayed me with this bug killer, he wrote. I hope they let me out of this place soon, because I don't think I'll like it here too much.
Sad.
you can't prove that the COs didn't actually murder this kid.
No, you can't prove that. They may have beat him to death. You don't know. Or
Yeah,
maybe not.
I mean, how many suicides are actually suicides in prison, right?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen COs do vicious things, you know.
Awake and look around me. Oh, at the hate that surrounds me.
Can we talk about how we met now?
Yeah. So how did we meet?
Well, I don't think I ever told you this, but in 2017, I was investigating a crime that took place in 1979. And in doing so, I looked into other similar crimes that happened around that time, around that area. The crime that you were convicted of happened to be one of those crimes I was looking into. And so you were a person of interest to me.
Still am.
I learned that you were still alive and still incarcerated after all that time.
Still am alive.
So I wrote to you. Did I tell you all of this ever?
No, you've never told me this, no.
Isn't that crazy?
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well,
Because I don't think you killed that other person at all.
No, I didn't. But you know, it turns out that it was good that I was the first suspect because it led us to where we're at today. You know, I mean, here we are today, all these years later, best friends. We couldn't have any better friends than we are.
So wait, I want to say that when I first met you, then, and every time I met you, while you were on the inside, you would tell me, you know, it's so great to be able to be yourself with people, and you could shed this, you know, facade that this, I don't know how, I don't remember how you said it, but it was like you were zipping off this facade, and you could just be yourself, and you don't have to be the person you had to become on the inside, which is a totally fucking different character. But now that you're on the outside and you're feeling vulnerable and more like a regular vulnerable person, you just want to be that tough guy on the inside again.
I want to zip the suit back on. You know, it's like the guy that plays the mascot. You know, when he puts the suit on, man, he's the mascot, right? He's Bucky Beaver or whatever. You know, zips the suit on, right? So when I zip my suit on, I'm the convict. I'm the guy. I'm the boss. I'm the shot caller. Out here, I'm nobody. People walk past me with funny looks on their faces and, you know, say rude shit, and they have no idea how quickly I can zip that fucking suit on. And I try so hard not to unpack that suit. But I want that suit back on. I really do. Because, I mean, the way some people act, the way some people treat me, they need an object lesson.
What? What do you mean?
I mean, you know, like a guy cuts me off. Say I'm driving and a guy cuts me off. Normally, I'm not an aggressive driver. I don't blow the horn. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Sometimes if you catch me in a bad mood, I'll blow the horn at you, right? But then the guy's going to flip me off. So that's the guy that I need to take out of the car and zip the suit on and beat the shit out of. And say, there you go, bud. Made a mistake, didn't you? Wrong guy. You know, you made the boss zip the suit on. And then that puts me back in that comfortable mode that I'm in because I'm so comfortable with, that's my go-to, is my suit, right? My go-to is the violence. There's just things you can't say. You can't say, hey man, suck my dick. Because if you say, hey man, suck my dick, now, there's two things going to happen. Either everybody's going to say, well, that guy's a bitch. That guy told him to suck his dick and he didn't do nothing about it. So he must like to suck dick. Or the second part is I beat the piss out of the guy. And everybody goes, I bet that guy's sorry he told that guy to suck his dick. So I've had a lot of confrontations since I've been out. See, here's the thing, right? If I'm talking to someone, and this is a prison thing, I'm sure. If I'm talking to someone and we're talking in a normal voice and everything's going good, and even if you're not agreeing with me and even if you're not going down the road I want you to go, I'm still talking in a normal tone, right? But the minute that I feel like you attack me, oh, it's on. There comes the suit. The suit's instantaneous. You know, it's like Star Trek, beam me up, man.
But it's still in your suitcase under your bed right now.
It is right now.
But if someone tells you in New York City, so you get into a little argument and someone just says, man, suck my dick, and walks away.
I'm going to knock him the fuck out. And then I'm going to walk away. Yeah.
But you go back into prison.
Maybe, but maybe I would go back into prison. Maybe I wouldn't. The thing is, I mean, you see fights on the subway all the time. You know, I mean, I see them all the time. So nobody's getting arrested. You know. But
wouldn't it be a parole violation?
I guess it would be a parole violation. Yeah, I can't fight. Yeah, sure it would. If they knew about it, right? Who's going to tell them? I'm not going to call them up and say, hey, I had a fight. So.
Well, if the guy reported you, then you would say, I didn't start the violence. He started the violence.
He started it. I would say just protecting myself. The guy sexually assaulted me. I was just protecting myself. Maybe you need to sign him up for a sex program because he invited me to suck his dick. So I was just protecting myself against a violent sexual assault. You know, I mean, there's.
I'm worried about you. Don't put that suit back on.
Yeah.
Status update.
Oh, status update. Man, I've had a hard week.
What week are you on?
I think this is week 14. I had some things go down with a very close friend of mine that shouldn't have happened. We were arguing about some stuff that we should not have been arguing about, and it just escalated, and I zipped my suit on for a couple of minutes, and I said some stuff that I really regret, and it put me in a very bad, dark place, and I've apologized, but I'm not sure that it's okay yet. So the week was not good. The week was bad. Yeah, the week was really bad, but it turned out well. It turned out well because I was able to turn me back on. You know, I was relying on too many people. I always rely on myself. I always have for so many years. And when I came out here, I started allowing myself to rely on my friends and my family to do things for me, you know? And then when they wouldn't do them in a fashion that I thought was acceptable, it would piss me off. And then the dialogue in my head started, well, you should have did it yourself. And once it got started, I didn't recognize it in time to turn it off, which is unusual for me, actually. But it's because I became dependent and reliable upon my friends and family, instead of relying upon myself at all times like I was used to doing for the past 41 years. So I let others into my comfort zone, and they didn't know that my comfort zone was so much different than any comfort zone that they'd ever been in before, you know? And it's not their fault that they didn't know that. My comfort zone was different, and they weren't controlling my comfort zone in a manner that I thought was acceptable. And so it was pissing me off. And every day it would piss me off a little more, and I wasn't saying anything, which is totally unlike me, not to talk. I didn't do that because I didn't want to hurt their feelings. I didn't want to impose my bullshit on them because I know that I'm different. I know that the things that irritate me, they're going to brush off. I told someone who is so fucking dear to me, someone I love with all my heart, to fuck off. I hurt that person, and I'm sorry. And I hurt me too. And I'm sorry. And I hope that person will forgive me and accept my apology, because I'm really, really sorry.
It's okay. She 100% forgives you.
Good.
I promise.
Okay.
I hope there comes a time where you can open yourself up to the idea of relying on friends again, because it's a healthy thing to do when you're in relationships.
I don't know. I tried to rely, I relied on people, and it just brought me grief, Right now I'm kind of happy relying on me.
We're going to work on that. And with that,
We're done?
we're going to let that shit go.
Let that shit go.
And, okay, we have to do our sign off.
Okay, suckers.
You're leading with that.
All right, remember, thanks for tuning in. I hope you learned something, and hope you tune in for the next one.
When we talk about the box.
We're going to talk about shot collars.
No, the box. Do you want to?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the time that I did in the box and the stuff that goes on in there, yeah.
Yeah, and the shenanigans that go on. Like how you guys communicate with each other and how you make illegal ovens and shit like that and all the amazing engineering.
You got to be careful throwing that illegal word around, because it's not really illegal.
You're not supposed
right?
to have one. Okay, they don't.
Yeah, all right,
okay.
so it's breaking the rules, right?
Yeah.
But it's not illegal to be a human. It's okay to be human, right?
Yeah.
All right, so shouldn't every human have a way to
Nothing's illegal then. Nothing.
Well, I mean, it's in prison, Okay, so it's like I said before, right? If someone says, don't think of red balloons, what's the first thing you think of?
Pink elephants?
Okay, pink elephant. So if the cop says, don't cook that pink elephant, what's the first thing you're going to do? Figure out some way to cook that fucking elephant, man. It must be good.
I can't wait to talk about that stuff. It's actually kind of fun, and I'm sure it'll be a little depressing, because who are we if we're not depressing? And who are we if it's not a therapy session? And who are we if we can't laugh at shit, right?
That's right. If we can't do all of those things, then we're not sharing our humanity.
Right. Thank you guys for listening. We have some listeners. We got some messages on Instagram. That's our link. So we got some Instagram messages that were really awesome.
Write in. Let us know what you think.
And someone also wrote in and said that they thought that you were arrogant.
I am. I am.
And listen, I told my 12-year-old son Milo that, and he said, you know what? The next time you guys come out of my room, because we record in his room, we steal his room every Monday night.
We reward him, though. We take him to dinner and stuff.
And let him do screen time. Yeah. He said, the next time you guys come out of my room and go down the stairs, I'm going to say to boss, hey, boss, what is a arrogant criminal going down the stairs?
What?
A condescending.
That's hilarious.
I was like, that's so fucking great. That's a good...
That is great. The kid's brilliant, man.
Condescending.
Fucking crazy. That's beautiful.
All right, Mr. Arrogance.
Okay, everyone. Goodbye till next time.
See you guys next week.
Days go. My days are lonely as life in a hole. Days for vengeance, justice is soul. Days for killing.
When you get locked in that first night in population, you have to see a sergeant before you can come out. And you come out, they crack your cell out later on. I mean, I missed chow and everything. I didn't get lunch or dinner that day. So you miss chow and everything because you're waiting for this interview. They crack your cell and you come out, and there's a sergeant down in the office, and the CO says, go downstairs and see the sergeant. So you go down there. And the sergeant sits you down. He says, okay, you got any enemies here? And you're like, how the fuck are you supposed to know that? There's 1,500 guys here. You haven't been in population. But, obviously you're going to say no. No, I don't have any enemies. All right, you got any sexually transmitted diseases? No. So they just ask you these random questions,
I would say yes. I have all of them. Don't fucking touch me.
Sergeant doesn't care if you have them or not,
Word gets around.
Maybe.
Of everything.
Yeah, I don't yeah, I'm not sure that would work, but I guess that's a strategy. Yeah. Did you take
Nobody wants everything.
Yeah, nobody wants everything. I don't know. You take boxing classes, you'd be fine. But